In the American state of Louisiana, due to thick fog, there was a large-scale traffic accident involving more than 150 vehicles. According to Telegraph, the fog reduced visibility on the road to almost zero. Because of this, a large-scale accident occurred on the interstate highway northwest of New Orleans. State police said the crash killed at least 7 people, and more than 25 were injured and taken to the hospital. The collisions between the vehicles caused a massive fire on part of the road, and the truck carrying the hazardous liquid was completely destroyed. Preliminary investigations have revealed that at least 158 vehicles were involved in this morning's crash, a local police spokesman said, adding that the search for victims is ongoing. Experts attribute the cause of this super fog to local marshes along the road. Smoke and water vapor, mixing with cold air, create a shroud in which visibility on the roads is reduced to 3 meters. In low wind conditions, super fog wriggles over low-lying areas, such as stream beds or drainage ditches. Super fog can be very dangerous when it is over highways and is the cause of several large vehicle accumulations, the U.S. National Weather Service (NWS) noted. Louisiana residents are advised to take extra caution when traveling. The combination of smoke from wildfires and dense fog is dangerous, and I want to encourage everyone to India was struck by 61,000 lightning strikes in 2 hours during a thunderstorm. The eastern Indian state of Odisha was hit by more than 61,000 lightning strikes in 2 hours during a thunderstorm, resulting in numerous human casualties. According to the Odisha State Disaster Management Authority, at least 36,597 cloud-to-cloud lightning strikes were recorded, and the number of cloud-to-ground strikes was 25,753. At least 12 people were killed and 14 injured due to lightning strikes. The state government announced a compensation of 400,000 rupees ($4,800) for each of the families of the victims. The lightning strikes were caused by an active cyclone over the Bay of Bengal. While lightning strikes are fairly common in eastern India during the monsoon season, such a large number of strikes in one day was unprecedented. Odisha on Sunday recorded more than 5,300 lightning strikes across the state. Hundreds of cars hit by ice bombardment on the highway between Parma and Piacenza. Italy is suffering from both storms and drought. Thus, in the southern regions there has been no rain for 3 months, while the northern regions are suffering from heavy rains and hurricanes. But today thousands of people were subjected to ice bombardment, as they themselves call it on social networks. A downpour with hail, the biggest in a decade, hit northern Italy, forecasters said. Huge chunks of ice the size of tennis balls completely stopped traffic on the highway between the cities of Parma and Piacenza. One eyewitness took a video of the aftermath. Dozens of cars with broken windshields are standing on the road waiting for help. Hundreds of houses were left without windows and without roofs. Hailstones literally pierced both slate and tiles. A 78-year-old pensioner was killed and 6 people were reported injured. Some people suffered head injuries as they tried to flee from the elements. 2 others were injured when a tree collapsed on their car. Crops and vineyards were reported destroyed, and hail knocked crops off fruit trees. Damage is estimated at millions of euros. Heavy rainfall also causes landslides and mudflows. Floods and fires have hit New Zealand and Australia. The South Island and the Australian coast are suffering from natural disasters. Fires are raging on an island in New Zealand, and parts of Australia are suffering from widespread flooding. Fires have engulfed the South Island of New Zealand. Firefighters barely managed to bring the situation under control, but it will take a few more days to cope with all the hotbeds of fire. It is known that the flames have spread to almost 2,000 hectares. Because of large-scale fires were evacuated 100 local residents of the island. Also, the fire destroyed several residential buildings. At the moment, 12 teams of firefighters, as well as 10 helicopters and 2 airplanes, are engaged in the elimination of fires. At the same time, on the northeast coast of Australia, rescuers began clearing houses and streets affected by flooding. Floods in the above-mentioned region of the country occurred due to heavy rains. For example, in the city of Townsville, Queensland, the annual norm of precipitation fell in just a week. At least 2 people died in the locality due to flooding. Rescue people were engaged, not only emergency services, but also the military. Residents of Australian cities were forbidden to leave flooded houses on their own, as water snakes and crested crocodiles appeared on flooded streets. Typhoon Saola has hit southern China. Nearly 900,000 people have been evacuated to safety, and businesses, transportation and schools have been suspended in much of Hong Kong and other coastal areas of southern China. The Guangdong Provincial Meteorological Bureau said the powerful storm hit the outskirts of Zhuhai City, south of Hong Kong, at 3:30 a.m. local time. It was forecast to move in a southwesterly direction along the coast of Guangdong Province at about 17 kilometers per hour, gradually slowing down before heading out to sea. On Friday, 780,000 people in Guangdong Province were pulled out of dangerous areas, as were another 100,000 people in neighboring Fujian Province. More than 80,000 fishing boats have returned to port, the publication wrote. The powerful earthquake has struck the Pacific Ocean. The epicenter of the disaster was located 134 kilometers northwest of the capital of the Kingdom of Tonga. An earthquake with a magnitude of 6.9 was recorded in the Pacific Ocean near the coast of the Kingdom of Tonga. This was reported by the U.S. Geological Survey, USGS. The epicenter of the disaster was located 134 kilometers northwest of the capital of the kingdom, Nuku'alofa, which is home to more than 23,000 people. The fire center was located at a depth of 225 kilometers. There was no information on casualties or damage. No tsunami threat was announced. As a reminder, an earthquake with a magnitude of 6.4 occurred near the Indonesian island of Java. As a result, at least 10 people were injured and 1 person died. The Far East is going underwater. Russia has been hit by a severe flood. Russia's Primorsky Krai is literally going underwater. The region has been hit by heavy rains, which have lasted for more than 1 day. According to local media and telegram channels, powerful streams of water are destroying bridges and roads, and many settlements have been cut off from civilization. Only for the last few days in Primorsky Krai fell a month's norm of precipitation. About 70,000 people were left without electricity because of the precipitation. Pedestrians were washed away right under cars, and children had to be evacuated from kindergartens. Because of the disaster, the region was placed under federal emergency rule. Local authorities say that the damage caused by the flood already exceeds 7 billion rubles.
Пойдем посмотрим.